this project, you're gonna need to find some sort of scrap wood. The thickness doesn't really matter unless it's too thin, in which case that may actually matter. So if you get something like whatever, 3/8, half inch, 10 millimeters, doesn't really matter, something along those lines should be fine. You're gonna need some sort of drill bit. You're gonna need a hole saw for your drill and some way to sand the outside down. So I don't really give exact dimensions here, but this is approximately 6 by 6. When you drill your holes, make sure to leave enough material to the edge so when you drill it doesn't break, and when you hang it, it doesn't break. The hole size needs to be enough to accommodate your rope or your string with a knot when we put it in. And the diameter of this hole should be enough to accommodate the bottom, because you're going to be hanging things like that. So you want it big enough to fit this, but not too big so that this will drop through. You're going to cut 4 strands at about 7 feet long. That'll give you plenty to work with, and you may have some little bit of extra you can trim or braid. So tie your 4 strands together in a nice knot, and then you can do a bit of a braid if you want, a 4-strand braid. If it's a little bit difficult to follow here, then I'm sure you could find a video of it somewhere. It's pretty straightforward. You can see that looks pretty nice. That's going to be the top part of our 2-platform hanger. So you're going to need a reference point to start your measurement. So we'll say once you've tied this up and it doesn't begin to fray again anymore, then we'll start measuring from here and we'll measure down. But before we put our knots in our strands, we're going to have to thread the plate on. So let's do that now. So try and find the nice piece up top, whichever one you want. I kind of like the one with some character. Just thread these guys in there. And then those other 2 guys. Pull them through, and imagine that's more or less the situation. Now we need to do our measurement. We decided that from the knot to knot, so from the top here to the bottom of the plate, we want 12 inches, 1 foot, 305 millimeters, however you want to put it. So we're almost there. That's more or less how it's going to be. We'll put your thumb right there, and we're going to tie a knot like so. And we're going to get a chance to double check that. So when I stretch it out, we're about 1 foot. Let's do the rest. So you may need to adjust your knots on the bottom to make sure that your plate or your shelf is level. Once you put some weight in here, if one of these corners is lower or higher, you're definitely gonna see it sag and kind of droop. So right now we're looking pretty good. Depending on your string or rope, you may need to double knot them so that they don't slide through over time. That could happen. So now we're gonna do exactly the same thing for our second level. We're gonna measure 12 inches from the bottom of this to our knot, and that's where our next platform or plate is gonna land. So before you do anything, just thread this plate onto your strands. Make sure that these strands are running parallel in the same line and they're not crossing. So let's say you don't want to put this guy over through this hole here. You gotta make sure that they're all in line. Now we're gonna measure 12 inches again from the bottom of the plate, and we are going to put our knot there. So this is what it looks like when everything is right. And here our knot was too small, went through the hole, and you can see what type of problems you may encounter. So you can get an S-hook. You either buy this at the store or you can make one out of wire, coat hanger. It doesn't really matter too much. It just has to be strong enough to hold the entire thing when your pots are in there with soil and water and the plants and everything. Just make a nice knot to start off. If you don't screw it up like I'm doing now, it's easier. Let's actually make a knot successfully this time. I screwed up the first one, so there we go. Look at that. Look at that beauty. That'll hold a battleship. So we're going to do our last one on our 4-plate or 4-level hanger. Same thing like with the 2-piece, just repeat for the 4-piece. Just keep threading your plates on and then measuring, tying your knots, and adjusting the level.